So welcome back to the second part of the first day of Israel Mobile Summit. My name is Eugene, happy to be back with you. Hope you had a great lunch or networking break, whatever it was for you. In the first half, we've covered mostly app monetization and ads topics, how to adapt after COVID to new monetization, how to build strategy for 2022, what social networks and other in-app methods to do to help monetize your game. And now let's hop on to something else that has changed since 1 or 2 years ago. So when such big news happening, all went to chaos, the new system builds, and then we kind of adapt to a new normal. So what new normal would be for growth in games? We have a very interesting panel exploring how game growth has changed after COVID, with 3 game publishers, Huuuge, Playspace, and Bagelcode, alongside with 2 of our today's summit sponsors, Nativex and Aarki. So please let's meet Tomer, Jeniffer, Alfonso, Nir, and Daniel. Hello, guys.
Hey,
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, guys.
I can see you from all different places.
Global.
All right. So we're having a global panel today. I guess. Well, it's actually I'm happy to see all of you. I think you make a great team for a panel discussion. I'm passing over the word to you. Good luck.
Thank you, Eugene. So hi, everyone. And like Eugene said, welcome to this panel with, I think, one of the interesting questions. What's the new normal for games growth? Today, we'll discuss mostly about user acquisition after this other topics that were discussed earlier today. Quick introduction about myself. My name is Tomer. I'm from Huuuge Games for the past 3 years, leading the user acquisition networks and DSPs activity here. And with me are some experts from the industry who will let each and everyone introduce itself. So Jeniffer, ladies first.
Cool. Hi, guys. So it's Jeniffer. I'm from Nativex, which is a Chinese-based agency, but a global focus. So past 3 years, I worked in TikTok, especially for the app and gaming, this vertical. So happy to share and discuss more with you guys today.
Thank you, Jeniffer. Glad to have you here. Next, Neil.
Yeah, hi guys. Lovely to be here. I'm Nir Schlaen from Bagelcode, VP Marketing of Bagelcode. Is a social casino company headquartered in Seoul, with branches also in London, Ukraine, and Tel Aviv.
Great to have you right next to me. Great, thank you. Alfonso.
Hello, everyone. This is Alfonso Villar, founder and CEO at Playspace, social casino company based in Mallorca. The background is Tel Aviv, it's not Mallorca, by the way. And well, we have been doing in the business for around already 10 years and happy to share our challenges as a small mid-sized studio in this new era.
Thanks for joining, Alfonso. And last but not least, Daniel.
Hi, I'm Daniel Shachori. I am a Senior Client Services Manager at Aarki, which is a US-based programmatic DSP. And I also have a background in the advertiser side, doing UA and retargeting for Playtika.
Great. So as you can see, a lot of experts in the industry, each from his own field. So I think we can start with one of the, it's like an overview question, but I think that it would be great to hear your insights about how do you think that the user acquisition world will look like and change in 2022 versus the last couple of years after the everything that COVID brought to us 2 years ago? Who would like to start first? Maybe Alfonso?
Yes, of course. Well, from my point of view, I believe that big publishers for this new year and learning about how to treat the data between the attributed, aggregated, and blended. While on our side, small publisher or mid-sized publishers are more affected with all these changes. Why? Because first of all, we don't have enough data to extrapolate the scale data. That's one first point. And the second point, we don't have the big resources in order to have sophisticated and data engineering to have such predictive analytics. And also, if you rely on just on Facebook or Google on your strategy, the impact is even higher. So it's a complicated situation in our case. Fortunately, we are focusing on, or we are operating on markets where iOS is 10% and Google is Android is 90%. So this is we are in an advantage position right now because this gave us time to learn from others like you here, while we keep on iterating, learning and doing the same things as before until Google's follows the path from Apple that will come.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the changes, and I know that we also have a panel coming up tomorrow about Scan, and a lot of things have changed. I think that besides Scan, which is of course a major change, but all of the trends, the user behavior, the session times, if you want to get into more granularity, but I think a lot of change besides Scan. Maybe Neil, you can give us some of your input from Bagelcode.
Yeah, I would say that we will see a lot of UA by other means. I mean, from the moment that UA becomes more expensive and less trackable, we will see also an increase in activities that are that tended to be considered in the past like less performance oriented, such as influencers, branding at the company level, acquisition of companies that would bring the user base of smaller companies as a way of UA, and a lot of cross promotion for companies that that have the luxury of having a few apps.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these things that you said are already happening, but I think that will continue happening. You're perfectly right. So interesting to hear from the developer side. But what about the networks side? What about the Aarki? Daniel, can you share a bit about what you feel from your partners and how do you think that the UA will change in the upcoming year?
Yeah, I think 2021 was mainly about adapting and navigating this new user privacy, which was Apple's ATT. Going into 2022, I think this will continue, especially with Google rolling out limit ad tracking. So as a result, I think us in marketing in general will have to do more work with less data. So that means we're more and more reliant on prediction models. Being that we're more reliant on prediction models, I think that means that in kind of relation to what Alfonso said, you'll have to have the means to invest in machine learning and to collaborate between data science and UA. So I think what's spearheading this is really machine learning and models. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that you have a point there. It's like a combination of things that impacting, I think, what's going on coming from Scan, privacy issues. A lot of things are changing. Google following the path of Apple, but I think that other things are also influencing. Maybe Jeniffer, you can give some insight about what's going on in the APAC market, which is your specialty.
Yeah, sure. So I think we noticed it from some of our customers as well. So they are now trying to spread. So they're not only focusing on some specific channels. So they also want to try like multiple different channels. Not only not put a big budget there, but they want to just to try differently. So they just want to try to acquire different kind of audience through different channels. So I think this is actually also some new trend that we observed, is especially also in the APAC area.
Which other channels are you referring to? I know that TikTok are blooming, as a lot of people can see, but what other channels do you feel like from your experience with the vast advertisers that you work with?
If we're talking about APAC area, I would just say like from Japan or from like South Korea. So there would have some local like Line, like Kakao, Never, this ones. Mm-hmm. And also in Southeast Asia, they also have some local traffic channels that we needed to focus on. And we also have some other customers that they are not mainly focus on performance of UA campaign. For example, they're also considering of Twitch, those platform for some branding awareness, like, yeah.
It's a combination. I think you're completing what Neil started to say, that things are not necessarily performance oriented, but it's a combination trying to boost the brand while searching how to combine it with good performance eventually. After all, money is the reason why everyone is doing what they're doing, and fun, of course. So in this post-COVID times that we're currently in, do you feel that things are changing a bit? I mean, I know that we had a surge in activities and people felt the growth, okay? But is this growth still happening from your perspective? Do you feel things are changing? Is the growth still going on? Is it kind of staggering a bit, or is it slowing down? How do you feel it from your side?
I would say that there was a huge deceleration since the rolling out of the iOS 14. I mean, the ability to track activities in iOS went down significantly, and it made it much more expensive everywhere else, which means that growth was stalled for big companies. I assume that for smaller companies, it's even a big blocker at the moment.
Did it made you perhaps change your strategy? I mean, if you're saying that iOS is so limited, and I'm sure that everyone can agree, for you guys, did it made you allocate more budgets elsewhere, to Android, to other OSs, to other areas that are less iOS?
Yeah, also, definitely.
What, for example, is it just only shifting to Android, or is it trying other things that are, like you said, more branding, maybe offline, old school TV commercials?
Not TV, but yeah, I think that all the other options definitely on the table, not yet offline.
I see. All right, thank you, Neil. Alfonso, it would be interesting to hear from someone like you said that has maybe less resources. Do you feel that your growth is becoming more and more difficult in these times now that iOS, maybe like Neil mentioned, CPIs are rising? Do you feel that the growth is getting more difficult, that the DAO is being perhaps is harder to attain and retain?
Yes, well, nowadays when I look back into the lockdown periods, of course we will never get such kind of spike on downloads and revenue. That's for sure. But if we look into 2021, just on the cohorts that we are bringing in, new cohorts are growing. The good thing is they are growing, and of course we believe that COVID has accelerated as well the increase in budgets and more mobile app installs in overall. But it's difficult to grow because we have detected two interesting things. Well, first of all is that during the lockdown, all of us, we were asking ourselves if the lifetime value of such cohorts will be the same or not. That will be unpredictable because it was something completely new. Nowadays, I can say that such cohorts perform really well, even better, even better than the previous ones. I could say the lifetime value probably was around 15-20% higher. Of course, such lifetime value has decreased after the lockdown period, but it's better than before, which is a good light. Anyways, the problem that we have faced is not related with the lockdown, is the otherwise. Once we saw that the regulations went down, they removed all regulations, we have seen like our golden cohorts or old cohorts decreased. They stopped playing, like people playing for years for us, stopped playing when the government let us go out from home. So if you look into an aggregate DAU, we are growing for the new cohorts, but it's more difficult because the older cohorts are worse than before because of that.
I see. Daniel, how do you feel it from your partners? Do you also see something similar to what Alfonso just mentioned?
Yeah, I think from the DSP side, we've definitely noticed budgets shift from iOS to Android. The obviously that causes more competition on Android. It's more money on Android, increases CPIs as well, as you mentioned. But even though that happened, even though despite the hangover that you mentioned after this huge boom of 2020 as far as growth, the industry is still growing, and installs are still increasing quarter over quarter. Overall, mobile marketing is estimated to grow, I think, about 4%, between 4 to 5% year over year. So it's kind of how do you adjust to this these new obstacles? Let's say from the DSP side, we see that 2020 was a huge boom for gaming. 2021, we can see actually the rise of fintech and crypto apps, which is another space that's really on the rise. So on our side, there's always ways that you can sort of pivot and find ways to acquire the right users.
See, and it's interesting to say to see that you said your side, our side, the DSP programmatic side, and we always look at we have Google, we have Facebook, and then we have what's called all of the rest. So it's kind of the walled garden in comparison to all others. Do you see, maybe Jeniffer, you can give us from your input as an agency who's working with a variety of media sources, do you feel that the strategy has changed a bit? I mean, from focusing on Facebook and Google as the main drivers of growth, maybe in the past, is it still the case today? Or maybe the changes with TikTok, who has grown, as we discussed already, and maybe also going to other places such as SDK networks, maybe offer walls. So there are a lot of opportunity, of course, DSPs. Do you feel it from your side?
Yeah. So when I was in TikTok, I have a strong feeling that most of the gaming developers that they are trying, or they tend to test their new games on Facebook or on these major channels, because the traffic is big and it can normally can prove that if the game can work or not. But when I switch now to the agency, when I get the attitude or test the attitude from the customers, then we notice that they're now changing their mind. They are not hesitant to trying some new media. For example, let's say TikTok. So TikTok, this as a video media. So they feels like the video media maybe can help them in the very beginning to acquire some very young users. And these part of young users can really give a long retention for them, so which is high quality. So that's why when we call it honeymoon period, so they would like to try on those new channels, or even they would just shift or split the budget to test a multiple of these tier, I would say tier 2, tier 1 or tier 1.5, those channels together in the very beginning. Yeah, so this is definitely the change that I observed.
Alfonso, Nir, do you also change some of your strategy because of the recent changes?
I would say that we are one of those, as Jeniffer mentioned. We are close to Facebook or Google in order to release a new game. Because it's easier for us and faster to validate. Nevertheless, we are now trying to work with TikTok in order to do our new release. So thank you, Jeniffer. Anyways, it will take some time to learn because it's a new platform for us. And as far as I know, it not works the same. And regarding the marketing mix, in our case, it did not change the industry. So our marketing mix did not change because of the changes on the industry. Well, we are changing the marketing mix, or all the changes we have done are because internal strategic decisions. So that's it. I could say that from our perspective, as we are Android, not Android only, but Android almost, we have saw how the CPIs grow because of competition over the last year.
Right, thank you, Alfonso. So I have a question for, I think, everyone here, which is kind of the recent changes. I mean, we've talked a lot about iOS, and it's also changed because of iOS. But over the past few years, the entire ecosystem became more and more automated. I mean, it started with, of course, we have the programmatic DSPs that specialize in machine learning, and each and everyone has their own secret sauce and their algorithms. And it continued with Google UAC and Facebook's AAA. And because of all of these things, so creative was crowned as king, right? My question, is this still the case now that we have less information about this? I mean, are you still going based on creatives, or are you trying other ways? When my main question is, what's your take on predictive models with all of the recent changes? Tricky one. Who wants to start?
Predictive models are for sure the future. I think that every company that have resources of data scientists working in their own predictive models, and also networks, also MMPs. I think that nowadays everyone is working on, everyone that can works is working on that. On the other side, as you said, by being the UA more automated, like becomes more and more important what is the food that you feed the machine, which makes much more salient the function of the creative.
I completely agree with you, Nir. I think that this is definitely where the future is heading, but still it's a work in progress. Now it's interesting to see, Alfonso. I mean, Nir mentioned companies with big resources for data engineering. Is that something that you're trying to endeavor with, or it's tricky? Are you using external help?
It's tricky, but of course we cannot afford a sophisticated machine learning to do so. I must agree with Daniel, like we need to involve the BI team or data scientists into the UA. I think that's a new paradigm for the future of UA. And the creative is still king, I believe, the creative. You could say that a few years ago, 2 years ago, the challenge was to find a creative manager that think about KPIs and how to improve such creatives. Nowadays, the new challenge is how to bring the BI data into the UA team. So that's the challenge. And regarding the analytics, what we do nowadays is not such a sophisticated as machine learning, but it's working for us. Is that we are correlating the first events of the player across the long-term goals of the players in the long term, and we try to change that on the game onboarding of the players within the product team for the first events, try to achieve such events. So that's something for us, and we would like to scale that with the resources that we have. But totally agree with Nir. That's the future.
Definitely. Jeniffer, from your side, what's your take on this?
Yeah, so actually from my side, I think most of the things it's the same. So because when we are using the platform and when we're using a dashboard, definitely we will focus on a metrics to judge that if the creative works or not. But in the meantime, I think at least in APAC area that we found more and more customer there focusing on the real person creatives, and also those live motion, or even some of the KOL creatives, because it would help us to receive more metrics. Because when we use in those influencer videos or influencer creatives, it would help us to understand how organically those creative can help on a UA campaign, because we can know like what is the video overall can touch the users, and even after that we can see that how many users can actually download because of this video, or how is that growing in the App Store or even in the Android stores. So that's why it would help us a bit when we recommend or when we produce the localized creative for our customer. We would suggest definitely live motion, and slowly it is changing to like more like key opinion consumers or key opinion leaders like videos, because it would help a lot so far at current period, especially in COVID. I think it's my own opinion, but I'm not sure. I think it's true, because more and more people they are willing or eager to see the real person in the social media, because when in their daily life it's less time that for them to interact or communicate. So they actually, when they see the ads, they want to see the real person is doing the recommendation or even doing a clarification, but not only maybe the cartoon styles or even the 2D or 3D styles. Yeah.
Alfonso, Neil, do you agree with this? So.
Yeah.
Because I think we've seen two big trends on the creative side that have been really dominant in the past year or so. One of which was, let's call it a bit misleading ads, okay, that have been really dominant in the past year or two. And also we saw, like Jeniffer mentioned, the live feature creative that have been going strong. Are you also going in these directions, Alfonso, Neil?
No, we are not at the moment.
Right, Neil, also no.
We neither. We
Focusing on gameplay.
Yeah, focusing on gameplay. Yes, on live action of people, but as it is strong, but it's also gameplay is still very very strong, and deceiving ads haven't worked well for us.
I see. Right. Cool. Thank you. Daniel, you want to add something on it?
Yeah, sure. I think I agree with a lot of what everyone said. And then creative is king. It's always been king because it's really the first touch point between the brand and the user. If the creative doesn't work, then there's no rest of the funnel, right? So I think in continuation to what people said here, I think there should be a hybrid of strong models and constant A/B testing of every part of the creative. And at least us at Aarki, we like to always challenge our top creative. You find a really good creative that works, design something similar and try to challenge that one, and continue to refresh because not everyone, like Alfonso said, not everyone can go and get an influencer that will make this amazing, ridiculous video that everyone's going to click on, right? You got to find gameplay works and will always work if you do it right. So yeah, I think that's all I've got.
Thank you for summarizing everything so well, Daniel. Cool. So I think that we've discussed a lot about the things that have changed in the down-to-earth user acquisition world, but there are also bigger things that are happening in our ecosystem. So I wanted to ask your opinion about all of the recent IPOs, M&As, consolidations that have been happening in the market in the past year or two. How do you see it impacting our work, your work, the networks, the developers, the publishers? How do you see it impacting?
I would say that it will become much more difficult for networks that do their one thing and do it well to keep being successful. We are seeing the rise of super networks, Digital Turbine together with Fiverr and Colony, or Bangle with Liftoff, Iron Source buying everything that moves. So it will Aarki being acquired by Skill. So we also are starting to see the evaporation in a way of the line between gaming company and a network. So networks are becoming also the mediator of the traffic, but also part of a part of the game, a side of the game. So it will be interesting for sure.
I definitely agree, and it would be interesting to hear Daniel's side. Like you said, Aarki were acquired by Skills. How did it impact Aarki's side? What do you see from your side, Daniel?
Well, yeah, we were acquired by Skills in the summer, but as far as we're concerned, Aarki will continue to operate as normal as a DSP. all the additional investment we're getting goes to help develop our product, develop our machine learning capabilities, and remain sort of kind of a little bit of a separate entity. So it is interesting that this happens, all the IPOs and consolidations. I think it was really sort of turbocharged and accelerated by both COVID and ATT. It sort of, it became eat or be eaten, something like that, right? Because there's less and less room and more competition. So it'll be interesting to see how other networks as well sort of align, like Neil mentioned about Iron Source.
Yeah, I think I mean, there were a lot of jokes about it. I think a couple of months ago about the new names that will arrive. I guess Iron Joy, Mo Lovin,
That's a
etc.
good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. I saw the banner; it was really good. So it will be really interesting to see if these, like Neil, you said yourself, these super networks, these new giants coming into play, will it change the paradigm of again breaking the walled gardens and getting a much more share of volume from this two mega giants? Let's call it 3 mega giants. TikTok has definitely jumped into the big game. Do you think that these trends will continue? Do you still think that the market will keep consolidating and consolidating more and more? Also from the publisher side, yes, Bagelcode and Playspace. Do you feel this from your side, also from the other publishers?
Well, from our side, in terms of the network, I believe that the consolidation is beneficial for us, because I believe that in the long term could break such walled garden and create new entrants in such duopoly, or now with TikTok, the third one. So for us, only that will benefit. What is challenging from our side, our perspective, is what Nir mentioned. The blue line between the network and a game publisher, which is again more competition again for us. Like they have now, they will have data, they will have inventory, and they will have more resources. So that's more challenging for us rather than the other side of the consolidation of the networks that will only benefit us.
Thank you. Jeniffer, you have something to add about this, maybe?
I think I have something related to APAC area about these IPOs or consolidations, because I'm not sure if you heard about that, because when the gaming entered into China, it would have some restrictions. For example, like some government documents, ISBN is definitely needed. So nowadays it's more the trending, that the consolidation. So for example, we have two biggest company, Tencent and also NetEase in China. Then they are like spreading around the world to getting those publishers published in China. So I think this is at least this is something affected our agency, because definitely we want to work with the global customers, but due to the regulation, so nowadays more and more gaming are now published through those two companies in China. Of course, this is good because they can handle more sufficiently by them, but it would also definitely impact for the UA, because we always think that we need a more diverse UA, which we can help different company do by themselves, and also we can do different channels, not only with the big giants. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So we're about to finish soon. I just have a bonus question before we'll have some time for Q&A. I think that the latest buzzwords in our industry are blockchain and NFT, right? I think that every other post that I'm seeing on LinkedIn is somehow related to this. The stage is yours to give any input about this. What do you think will happen? Is this the next step? Is this the future? What do you guys think?
Well, should I jump in? Let's, as it's just an opinion, I would say that I'm a believer of the play to earn for the future. I believe that it works, and if you follow up the gaming industry for the over past 20 years, it makes totally sense. But I don't know if it will be like it is right now, because now it's like a lot of hype, let's say. So from our side, from Playspace, we are wait and see perspective, have everything on the radar and see what's going on until everything goes down and calm.
Cool. Nir, Daniel, Jennifer, feel free to add your 2 cents.
I tend to agree with Alfonso. It will become a thing, but it will take time. It won't happen overnight. I think that at the moment it's more hype than anything else.
I see. All right. Cool. So if no one has anything to add about these topics, so I would like to thank you first for joining. And Eugene, do we have any questions from the audience, maybe?
Yeah, actually, I have a little bit of question. Several. First one will be regarding merchant acquisition and stuff, because we didn't have many talks about that, and I was interested. It was this year was huge, like regarding merchant acquisition, especially this summer. So I was wondering, what the first question would be: do you expect this trend to grow as well, or will it quiet down a little bit in 2022?
I think the guys already answered that it will continue as the playing ground is getting smaller and smaller. I think that there is a common ground that everyone agrees that it will continue also in 2022. I think that I speak for my dear panelists.
No, I meant like this summer it felt like it was a peak, and then it's gotten quieter. So I was just wondering if it's gonna become wide again. So yeah, thanks for that.
It's holiday season. People are relaxing a bit before starting back.
Yeah, sure. And the next one would be, is there a possibility of a trend like for small companies who just start, but in different business regions, like one company is a developer, the other is user acquisition, the other is ads. Is there a trend for such small companies to unite into one big brand to help one each other?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question.
The common strategy for a developer company would go to a publisher or an investor and get the whole bunch of services to grow their game. But is there a way, maybe smaller companies who provide several services, but they just the new to the market, they unite with each other instead of going to a big company and being merchant acquired or published? Did I make it clear?
I would say it can happen. Like what happens in big companies can happen also in smaller companies. We see agencies starting to develop games because they have the expertise in user acquisition, or companies of monetization that enters. You could say that it also happens. Yeah.
Why not? It depends.
Yeah, eventually I think that each company will look for their own benefit, what the other side can give them as added value, and if it works, it works.
Awesome. And Somer, I think the last question for you regarding NFT. I said this question before to another speaker, but didn't get as wide reply as I was hoping for. As you mentioned NFT, so do you see NFT as like the future of in-game purchases?
Again, you won't get a much broader answer from me, because I think everyone are waiting to see if this will be just a hype or will it evolve, because I do remember that a few years ago we had a similar hype around AR, VR, and it didn't evolve to where everyone thought it would, at least not now. So I do think that we see a lot of companies, a lot of big companies, not only gaming. Just recently Nike acquired a company to make them digital sneakers. So I do think that it's something that is going on, but I think everyone are waiting to see what happens after the dust settles and how to deal with it, but I do agree with Alfonso that play to earn will be something strong. At least that's my personal opinion.
We can add here that that already exists before, like the NFTs, like not with NFTs, but they were like markets where you can buy and sell assets. So it's a question if the NFTs consolidate this kind of marketplaces for gaming as well, but we will see.
Yeah, and we're sure for the past 2 years we saw much more not game-related companies coming into gaming. So I guess in the next few years we will see many more changes to the industry, as we always do.
We like to say about ourselves, we're dynamic and we're agile. So I think that just proves how true that is.
Totally. So yeah, I think that would be. Thank you very much, guys, for being with us today. To the audience, please feel free to reach out to any of the guys in case you have any questions. And I'm saying to you, happy upcoming holidays. Hope to see you in 2022. Have a good luck in New Year.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
guys. A pleasure.
Bye-bye.